Is like a large body of water with countless rivers flowing in and out. As someone who watches over this system, I would hope that each river that flows from the source will eventually reach the ocean. Of course, objectively speaking, I know this is impossible. Most of the rivers will dry up along the way, disappearing into the ground and leaving nothing but a barren riverbed behind. Not all rivers are destined to reach the ocean, but I would not see their existence rendered meaningless. I believe the water that flows within them is simply meant for a different destination, like a field in need of irrigation. Or perhaps the glass of a certain water-tasting enthusiast.
Did you get any of that, Traveler?
Your words paint an optimistic picture indeed. Allow me to remind you, however, few among us are willing to sip from a glass filled with tainted water.
It may have been tainted at one point in time, but not to worry. I'll make sure it's strained of all impurities and returned to its cleanest form.
I seem to recall there being a transactional aspect to your proposal. Perhaps you could expound on that?
If you accept my proposal, Monsieur Neuvillette, I will gradually withdraw my forces from Fontaine. And, unless absolutely necessary, I will no longer carry out any special missions within Fontaine.
I presume I can take your words to mean that, in the future, cases similar to the Tartuffe assassination will cease to cross my desk?
Tartuffe? Ah, that thief who embezzled funds from all those charities, you mean? My deepest condolences to his family, but without any evidence, I cannot imagine how the House of the Hearth might have been involved in his passing. Of course, if you accept my proposal, Monsieur Neuvillette, I'm sure certain measures could be taken to reduce the frequency of such troubles.
You choose your words carefully indeed. In that case, I am inclined to accept your proposal.
My thanks for your generosity, Monsieur Neuvillette. Well, with that settled, we should be going now. I took the liberty of bringing along 2 bottles of spring water from Snezhnaya for you to enjoy. I do hope I get the chance to hear your impressions. Perhaps at our next meeting, yes?
Indeed. I trust you would not overlook your commitment in the meantime.
All right, Traveler Paimon. Time to go.
So, what exactly were you talking about back there? Paimon only heard you mention some rivers, a large body of water, and then some kind of irrigation scheme.
You really want to know? I would imagine there might be more pressing concerns at the moment.
Winnie, Paimon really hopes everything's going okay. Oh, Paimon recognizes that look. You've got your thinking cap on, don't you, Traveler?
Oh, shoot. Are you alright? Oh, jeez. I'm so sorry. I was so focused on selling these... Well, let me make it up to you at least.
Oh, you don't have to give us anything.
Please, I want to. It's not like I'm short on supply. It's my fault, really. I was just trying to bring home some extra mora for the...
What's going on here?
Nothing much. I just ran into your friend here on accident. I should probably get going, actually, so...
Hold on.
Of course, I'm happy to compensate you with Mora. It's just, I don't have any on me at the moment.
I'll take 3 papers. Here, your payment.
Oh, thank you for your patronage. May the Archons bless you with good fortune. If only I had the chance to run into such generous customers every day. I should probably just take on a smaller inventory though, right? I'm getting married soon, so sometimes it's hard to not get ahead of myself. Anyway, I should head out. Goodbye!
Well, now that my affairs are settled, we should take the boat back to Poisson. We've even acquired some light reading to enjoy along the way.
Actually, why don't we stick around for a little longer? Paimon just realized how hungry she is. She can't head back to Poisson on an empty stomach.
It appears you two are under the impression that delaying our return will somehow alter the situation in your favor. I'm sorry to ruin your fantasy, but your efforts are meaningless. That being said, I could be persuaded to give Linny some extra time. I just have one condition. If you agree to my request, I'll even answer some of your questions. You're quite curious about Clairvy, are you not? And my relationship to her.
Wait, why are you being so generous all of a sudden? You're not gonna ask us to do something bad, are you?
You overestimate yourself. You don't have the talent for bad things.
Then what can you possibly...
The most important consideration in a negotiation is that both sides receive something they want. Wonderful. Here it is. When the time comes, make the choice that you deem most appropriate in the situation, and lend your help to the House of the Hearth.
Okay, sounds normal enough, but...
That is for you to decide. Then we have a deal. Follow me.
How about we explore the area ahead of us later? What is this place?
Somewhere long forgotten by everyone. It used to be a grand, but no one comes here anymore. Nor does anyone care about what once... It was before I became a Harbinger. And before Linny and the others joined the House of the Heart.
You were the one that killed Clairvy?
Patience now. Allow me to explain Clairvy's side of the story first. I'll start from the beginning. Clairvy was 6 years old when she was brought by her mother, Crucibina, to live in the House of the Hearth. From the out, Crucibina was the knave at that time, and the House of the Hearth was under her control. She was Clairvy's mother. Clairvy was happy here, for a time. But she quickly realized that being part of this family wasn't a fairy tale at all. It was a kind of purgatory.
Purgatory?
Exactly. The House of the Hearth takes in war orphans from all over Tevat. But Crucibina came up with a novel idea. She would teach the children to fight, force them to duel each other, and then crown as the king of the house the child who proved themselves most worthy of inheriting her title. It's difficult to estimate the number of children who died or were maimed in the process. There's little I can say about the ones who died. The ones that emerged with permanent injuries, on the other hand, well, they would be handed over to the doctor to be experimented on, or sent away on dangerous missions.
So those were the experiments You said that Clairvy was Crucibina's daughter, so if Clairvy tried to convince her to stop what she was doing, Crucibina probably would have listened, right?
Despite being Clairvy's mother, Crucibina cared little for her daughter. She forced Clairvy to join the House of the Hearth only as Clairvy did try to convince her mother to change her ways, but it was to no avail. After her efforts failed, the only other option was to rise up and try to fight back. Unfortunately, the other children had already been thoroughly indoctrinated into the illusion of happiness Crucibina had created. Of course, there was one exception. Someone Clairvy's age, who knew the truth about the House of the Hearth. Her name...
Wait, the friend that Clairvy mentioned?
Friend, huh? I suppose we can call her that for now. Clairvy was a cheerful and passionate person with a tenacious spirit. Peruere, on the other hand, was rather cold-blooded. Her cold-blooded nature allowed her to see through Crucibina's facade. Yet, it was also this cold-bloodedness that prevented her from acting against it. At least at first. While despite their differences, the two became fast friends, united by their knowledge of the truth. Clairvy told Peruere that she hoped to create a real family, where no one would be killed or sacrificed. There may have been a certain naivete to her ideas, but Clairvy proved her determination many times over. She tried countless times to run away, ask for help, even with her body racked with pain. She would still stand on her tiptoes and open the window at night. She and Peruere would look out at the moon together, a fierce longing for freedom shining in her eyes. But one day that light simply vanished.
Oh no. What happened?
Her hopelessness resulted from a culmination of things. 10 years had passed. 10 years worth of failure after failure. She and Peruere weren't children anymore, but finding any chance to escape still seemed as hopeless as ever. It was during this time that Peruere suggested a new plan. If escaping was out of the question, why not take down the very person sitting on top of this throne of lies? Mother herself. Clairvy rejected that proposal. She claimed that, as a famous harbinger, Crucibina possessed an unimaginable amount of power. Trying to kill her would have an incredibly low chance of success. Clairvy never gave another reason, but Peruere could see it written all over her face. Clairvy still thought of Crucibina as her mother. Killing her own flesh and blood was a line she couldn't bring herself to cross. If she couldn't escape and fight back, then only one option remained. Precisely. Death was the only way that she felt she could be free. It happened during a duel. When she arrived at the dueling ring that day, her partner turned out to be none other than Peruere, the very person that had stood by her side all those years. It was a fierce battle, but ultimately, Clairvy decided to let Peruere end her life. From that moment on, Peruere's journey was one written in flames. When the rain finally came and washed it all away, there she stood, the sole victor in Mother's endless game of slaughter. A trail of corpses strewn across her path to success. It was the very result she had predicted 10 years prior. Even then, she believed she would make it until the end. She wasn't surprised by the fact that she emerged as Mother's undisputed heir. Rather, her success left her with an inexplicable sense of restlessness. She was unsettled, and there was only one thing that could quell that sensation. Perhaps you too.
Crucibina, you mean? But...
Correct. This is the place where Peruere killed her best friend. A mere year later, this is also the place where she fought tooth and nail to kill the mother they shared. The moment she acted, any conception of what was right or wrong ceased to matter. It's one of the principles of the house. Only those who survive get to write the rules. Peruere won the battle, and became a harbinger herself. After which Her Majesty, the Tsaritsa, bestowed upon her a new name. Arlecchino.
So the Perry Clairvy was talking about... It was you all along.
I left that name behind long ago. I must say, hearing it now does bring back memories. After I defeated Crucibina, the moniker of Mother died with her. I chose to forego the title she called herself, and even chose to give up my own name. I rebuilt the House of the Hearth under a new identity. Not only as Arlecchino, but as father. And that is where the story ends. And
Yeah. Based on what you just told us, Clairvy wasn't a little kid when she was killed. So the Clairvy we met...
I suppose you could call her an illusion born of flame. Her existence is like ashes to a fire. Something left over in the wake of blaze and ruin. You see, a certain power runs through my veins. It's not unlike a curse. My flames leave behind shadows of anything they consume. Of course, the chances of those shadows morphing into a sentient entity are exceedingly slim. Clairvy is a very special case. Clairvy died when she was 16 years old, but what emerged from the flames was her 6-year-old self. Her appearance wasn't the only thing affected. Most of her memories were lost to the blaze as well. Memory is a mysterious thing indeed. Losing a portion of your memories will alter your sense of self. Lose 10 years' worth, however, and it would be like living in the past. Like returning to a version of yourself that never grew up.
No wonder Paimon got such a weird feeling when we were talking to her.
Perhaps I should put it this way. Clairvy is someone trapped in time. It may seem like she exists with us in the present, but she truly lives in the confines of her own past.
So if all of that is true, then you must have known about Clairvy for a long time.
Indeed. She's a rather volatile and unstable entity. Sometimes she would look after the children. She's even saved some of their lives. But other times, she would hide from me and become obsessed with revealing the truth about the house to anyone who will listen. Shadows don't have the capacity to learn or grow. Any new information they encounter is quickly forgotten over time. Your attempts to expose Clairvy to sunlight, they failed, yes? The reason is actually quite simple. In Clairvy's mind, the house is impossible to escape, and it is this very perception that traps her there. But no matter. All I have to do is kill her again, and all will be resolved. I don't anticipate so much as a single speck of ash will be left behind this time.
Wait! Paimon can understand why you might want her gone, but isn't there another way? So what if she's trapped in her 6-year-old self? She's still your friend!
It's too late for that. She broke the rules, and now she must be punished. That goes for Filial and Nantoy as well. She's had quite the effect on them. I hope you understand. The difference between Crucibina and myself lies in our formulation of the rules, not our policy for enforcing them. Upholding the rules without question is a trait we both share, because that is how a household should be run.
Is this really what you want to do?
Whatever could you mean?
Don't you want to say a proper goodbye at least?
Whether as a killer or as a father, there are two things that must be avoided at all costs: anger and sorrow. Anger makes you impulsive. Sorrow causes you to waver. Well, it appears it's about time to proceed. Before we arrived, I told some of my well-behaved children to bring our troublemakers here by nightfall. I do believe I've kept my end of the deal. I gave your friends quite a bit more time. As for what happens now, we'll just have to wait and see.
Here they are, Father.
You gonna execute him? Seeing something like that would actually be a first for me. Lenny!
I'm sorry. I heard about how you helped buy us more time. But I still failed. I couldn't find a way to fulfill her wish.
Huh? Are you... Perry?
Indeed, it's been a while, Clairvy.
Perry!
Shh. Stay right there. I'm sorry to postpone our reunion, but first, I believe certain scores need settling.
Father, let me explain.
Out of my way.
Father!
You chose to conceal a threat to the house. And for that, you must be punished. Overall, however, I suppose your wrongdoing is hardly the most egregious of the bunch, so I'll deal with your punishments later. As for right now, the more pressing concerns are the traitors among us.
By traitors? Do you mean us?
Father, let me explain. We didn't mean to...
Fultz, why don't you share what you heard?
Yes, Father. Secret Midnight Meeting number 3. Participant Nantoi clearly said, "If only Father..." Sato added, "I'm sick of this life." I just thought Filial was the worst of them all. She called us crazies and said,
I did not! You're lying! Fultz is trying—
It's not like I'm the only one who heard those things. After that, you and Top were birds locked in a cage. The only way out.
You little... You just want me gone, don't you? What did I ever do to you, huh? And you, Sheplo, have you forgotten who stood by your
You're wrong, Filial. We don't want you to die. You're our family.
Liar. You wouldn't be doing this.
We all live in the House of the Hearth. You know a single betrayal can cost dozens of us our lives. That's why the House of the Hearth cannot tolerate any form of betrayal. Ever since we came to Poisson, you've had 7...
You've been spying on us for half a month? Wait a second.
Filial, Nantoi, I owe you both my life. I owe Clairvy too. If this were any other situation, I would do anything to repay that kindness.
Why?
That's enough, Filial. We made a mistake. I'm sorry, Sheplo. Fultz. We...
Chapleau, according to the rules of the house...
All those who betray the house.
And so it shall be.
Father, please wait!
Something you want to say, Linny?
Please reconsider, Father. What we all come from broken families. From the very first day we joined the house, but the truth is, none of us know what a real home should look like. I'm not saying I have all the answers. All I know is this. So please, Father.
I agree with Linny.
Father, please. Linny, you... I also agree with Linny.
An order once given cannot be rescinded. However, given the extent of your determination, I suppose we shall have to go about this a different way. Draw your weapons and face me.
Our weapons?
Father, are you referring to a duel?
Precisely. The rules of the house will not be altered. However, Resolving disputes with a duel is also one of our rules, one that also applies to me. Demonstrate a sufficient showing of strength, and I shall offer a concession.
Wait. Beat Father in a duel?
Impossible. Father is way too strong, even for Lenny. Did you hear that, Traveler? Lenny and the others have to duel the knave. If they lose, those people...
Don't you want to say a proper goodbye at least?
Anger makes you impulsive. Sorrow causes you to waver.
Oh. Looking at that expression on her face, she seems really serious about this.
When guests are around, families are often on their best behavior.
When the time comes, make the choice that you deem most appropriate in the situation, and lend your help to the House of the Hearth.
What's wrong, Traveler? Hey, where are you going?
Traveler?
You're asking to join the duel against the knave?
I'll allow it. We do have a ready-made dueling ring at our disposal, after all. All I would advise is this. Keep a firm grasp on your weapon, and give it your all. Any less, and you may just lose your life.
Let me read you a verse.
Is it my turn
No,
now?
my sword! Game's up. Fun's over.
With these rising
Gotcha.
flames!
Gather!
Now that's more
Now's our
like
chance!
With the fall of darkness, destruction shall
Ring
rise. Have a taste of purgatory.
I will have order.
Is it my turn now?
Father's even stronger than I expected.
Closer now. Not bad. You've proven to be a worthy opponent after all.
Witness the power of Gugwa. May my final stand.
Speed away. My blade is all that remains.
Rain outlines your game's up. Fun's over. Let me read you a verse.
This is order.
Sometime is only the beginning.
No.
Over here.
You should know better than to crowd in one place.
Oh, I know.
No! I'm sorry, Father!
Sorry for what? This pitiful excuse for an attack.
Father, no!
Made it out, did you? You're stronger than I expected.
A crimson moon. I can't move.
Still, not strong enough to beat me. I believe we can end things here. It's not often that we get to enjoy the company of guests, after all. We wouldn't want things to get too out of hand.
Brother, are you alright?
Lenny.
Given that I am the victor of this duel, as agreed, the punishment stands.
No!
I never thought things would end like this.
However, everyone involved in the duel demonstrated a remarkable level of strength and determination. In light of this, I'm prepared to change the method of execution. Elwar, the bottled flames I gave you for safekeeping. Do you still have them?
Yes? I wasn't sure what they were for.
Wonderful. Then, in just a moment, I'll have you administer them.
Bottled flames?
Indeed. They're the product of a secret experiment. Under certain special circumstances, flames can be extracted from my person and preserved. Once ingested, searing pain will spread across every inch of your body. No harm will come to you physically, but your memories will be burned away. If you can withstand the pain. When you awake, you'll have forgotten everything you know about the House of the Hearth, and will be expelled from the organization. In other words, administering this concoction will kill the version of you that grew up in the house, and give you a new identity. Memory is a mysterious thing indeed. Losing a portion of your memories will alter your sense of self.
So, you're just letting us go?
You misunderstand. Memories are extremely important. Once consumed by flame, the version of you standing before me will die. And our secrets...
Even so, I won't have to live in fear anymore. I'm sorry, Father. I'm sorry I let you down. But I I really...
Don't cry, filial. You haven't left the house yet, so there are still rules to be followed, yes? Remember what I taught you. Anger makes you impulsive, sorrow causes you to waver. Don't let your...
Of course. I'll remember.
Dry your tears, and go pursue the life you really want.
Yes, Father.
Chaplot, Foltz, Elwar. Take them back to Poisson. And bring Lenny and the others as well. I prepared 3 extra vials of bottled flames. As for whether to take them, the choice is yours. Goodbye, children. The next time we meet, I will no longer be your father. Thank you for all you've done for the house. I hope you have bright futures ahead of you.
Father.
Let's go.
Here, grab my arm, Lenny. I'll help you up.
Thank you.
Clairvy.
Can we talk now? I've been waiting for a super long time. You really are Perry, aren't you? I haven't seen you in so long. How come you're all grown up? Wait, did I somehow travel to the future on accident? Or am I dreaming? What a long dream.
Neither. You died, Clairvy. That's what happened.
You could have at least sugarcoated it a little. Look, she's done speechless. Oh. Okay then. Huh? That's it? You accepted it just like that? Yep. If that's what Perry says happened, then I believe her. Perry wouldn't lie to me. Plus, I don't really need to know why I'm like this. I'm more curious about what happens in the future. If you're a harbinger now, Perry, that means Mother is gone, isn't she? Can you tell me about it? I want to know what happened to her. And to me.
You never stopped trying to defy fate. At first, no one believed you. You could only vent your frustrations to the moon. In fact, you often sought comfort in the night sky. You wanted to see the aurora, so one night we promised each other we would go to Snezhnaya to see it together. Later on, you tried to run away, but you were brought back each time. Mother spared your life, but it wasn't out of kindness. Instead, she decided to make an example of you by slowly torturing you over time. That way, the other children would know what happens to traitors. Still, you never gave up. Mother hoped that through ruthless duel after ruthless duel, she would be able to crown an ultimate victor among the children she raised. But you called on everyone to unite, to fight to a draw in order to reduce casualties. Your efforts may have only delayed the inevitable, but still. You gave them hope. You tried everything you could think of, but every attempt ended in failure. Still, you never turned your sword on Crucibina, and you never turned it on me. On that gloomy day, you told me, "For the last 16 years of my life, I've done everything I can to fight for freedom. But now, I realize that the only freedom I truly possess is the freedom to choose to die."
I never imagined I would say something like that. I must have been feeling really worn down. But somehow, I still think I understand. According to Mother's plan, only one of us was going to make it until the end. And I always hoped that person would be you. If I could do it all over again, I still don't think I would make a different choice. Even when I first met you, I knew you'd be able to do what I couldn't.
Is that so? Even now, I'm not sure I truly understand what kind of freedom you were trying to pursue. But as the head of the House of the Hearth, and as the children's father, I've tried to give them the most basic of freedoms. The freedom to choose their own fate. It's something I discussed with the Eudex of Fontaine. The children who want to leave the house will have their memories wiped clean of all secrets pertaining to the organization. In return, they will be allowed to live a normal life in Fontaine without being prosecuted for their past. Of course, I won't simply hand freedom to them on a silver platter. They have to fight for it and prove themselves worthy of it. Only freedom that is earned has true value.
That's more than enough. That's exactly the kind of life I was fighting for. You know, Perry, I think you're a pretty amazing king, and a really great father, too. I'm really happy that you're the one who took over the house. I guess I do have one regret, though. I still haven't seen the outside world.
Well, it just so happens that our dear guests over here have been to many nations and traveled to countless places. Perhaps they would be willing to tell you what the outside world is like.
Really? Of course! We've traveled all over the place. We've got so many stories, we could probably talk your ears off for 3 days straight! Those yokai you mentioned. I once saw a drawing of this one— Oh, sounds like you're talking about— You know, I used to dream of being a buck playing the lute while singing into the winds of— Ah, that's where more— If I had some more, I would buy 3 new dresses. One for me, one for Perry, and one for Mother. It's just too bad Perry doesn't like wearing dresses. And Mother, well, she probably wouldn't accept something like that either. I guess I'd just have to keep them all for me. I was always too afraid to spit at the academia. I'm just kidding. The situation was super dangerous. Lenny and Lynette were— Oh no! Don't worry, we were able to turn the situation around. How'd you do that? Come on, tell me! Ahem. Okay, so it was like this.
Shadows don't have the capacity to learn or grow. Any new information they encounter is quickly forgotten over time. Clairvy, you've worked tirelessly from the shadows to overthrow the House of the Hearth. Now, by my authority as the Knave, I shall announce how this matter ends. You are hereby expelled from the House of the Hearth. You are no longer tied to this place, nor are you bound by its rules.
You're saying that I can finally leave? I get to experience the outside world as well? Oh, I almost forgot. There's no getting older for me. Still, seeing who you grew up to be makes me really happy, Parallare. Take care of yourself. Goodbye.
May we meet again someday.
Clairvy. She left so soon. Paimon didn't even get to finish her story.
I also have certain sentiments left unsaid. I wanted to tell her that the aurora I saw in Snezhnaya was just as beautiful as the ones in the pictures. But a shadow's memories reset at dawn. Had we delayed any longer, we wouldn't have had the time to say goodbye. Whatever regrets may linger, let them be lost to the coming of a new day.
Father?
It's Linny! Hey, Linny! What is he doing back here? Let's go check it.
Father, the bottled flames have been
And you? What have you?
Thank you for giving us that choice, Father. But we never wanted to leave the house. It's the only home we've ever known. Lynette and Fremine feel the same way. They're recuperating back at the Hotel Bouffe d'été. But I decided to come back and tell you where we stood.
I'm sure you're well aware of the expectations I have for you. I want you to follow in my footsteps and become the next king of the house. Yet you seem to have different ideas. I must admit, I'm rather surprised by your decision to stay. There's nothing wrong with choosing to live a quiet life. Leading this organization is a heavy responsibility, one not so easily carried by someone forced onto the throne.
I just never understood what you saw in me. What made you believe I was deserving of that throne?
You're brave, talented, and, most importantly, you cherish your family. You would do anything to protect them, even if it costs you your life.
Speaking up back there was so brave of you, Linny. It's all thanks to you that we were able to convince Father to back down.
You're a hero, Linny.
Hero? Father is the real hero. Had Father gone all out during the duel, there's no way I would have walked away with my... I'm not deserving of that title.
You're wrong. In my opinion, all you need to be deserving of the throne is conviction. We may have different ideas of what it means to be a family, but you can hardly be said to lack even without that strength. You still chose to face me in a duel.
Father...
No one knows what the future holds, what tragedy or triumph may be in store. Being at the head of this organization requires the strength of will to face whatever comes. Caution will only hold you back. If reaching a certain standard were required to go after what you want, I would never have succeeded in killing my predecessor. Back then, there was still a considerable gap between our abilities. Strength may decide the ultimate victor, but those who let a lack of strength dictate their decisions or undermine their convictions will never be worthy of the throne.
I understand, Father. Thank you.
Children must grow up to surpass their parents. Only then can a family continue to flourish. The road ahead is not an easy one, so I'll ask you one last time. Are you certain you want to stay?
You've done so much for me, Father, and that kindness must be repaid. Plus, with Project Stuja at hand, there are many dangers ahead, and I, for one, don't intend to back down. Protecting my family at all costs. That's my conviction.
Then you're welcome to stay. As for Project Stuja, you need not be too concerned. If those cowardly businessmen and heartless dignitaries try to take us down, I'm prepared to teach them a lesson. Having members who longed for the light was our organization's last weakness. With those members no longer among our ranks, the House of the Hearth is like a spider hiding in the shadows. We need only wait for our prey to come to us. At present, our imperative is to use their plan to our advantage. In doing so, a crimson moon shall rise amid the frigid blizzards of winter. No demonstration of loyalty shall go unrewarded, and no sacrifice shall be in vain. As for the two of you, whether we meet again as friend or foe, I'll remember the camaraderie we shared in this moment. No matter how arduous the journey ahead, I hope we both reach our desired destination.
Didn't Linny say that Lynette and Fremine were recovering at the